The following is a presentation of Learfield IMG College.
This is Duck Insider.
Give it to Verdell. He's got the first down and gone. Duck fans start celebrating. Oregon is the 2019 Pac-12 champion. The 2020 Rose Bowl champion.
Richardson, another open three. Good. Duarte dribbles and slams with the right hand. For the third time in the last 5 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions. Outright champs.
Foley three. Good. Foley ball. Down Shelley. Three ball. Good. Regular season champions and now Pac-12 tournament champions.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Happy Friday, everybody. Joey Mack here with you. It is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union, live from the Country Financial Studio. We've got some news on the NCAA Fall Championships. We've also got some ticket info for season ticket holders, some important things that we're going to talk about on the program today. And we're going to hear from Rob Mullins, the Oregon Athletic Director, always brought to you by Pepsi and locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi. It's going to be an important it's going to be a really important few days as the NCAA figures out all of the eligibility questions that we've been talking about. And really, there's a lot for them to think about. Just being honest with everybody, there's an awful lot for the NCAA to think about. And one of the things is eligibility. One of them is what's going to happen now over the next few months, and we're going to talk about that with Matt Ulmer, head coach, Oregon Volleyball, will join us for the first time since our relaunch of Duck Insider. He's going to be with us here coming up in about 10 minutes. I have a feeling that Matt is going to have some serious things to say, but I think, as we all know, Matt usually puts a good spin on things, which is why I thought it was important for him to come on a Friday. Now he's a good Friday guest, especially because I got to show everybody, I came prepared today. I brought my sandals. I don't know if Matt's going to wear his sandals. Remember, he's famous for his socks and sandals. I didn't wear socks, though. That's weird. But I got my sandals. I'm ready to go. So, Matt, if you're watching, be prepared. I fully expect our Zoom call with Coach Olmer to begin with a shot of his feet. Aren't you? I mean, honestly, I think that's probably going to happen. We also are going to talk a little bit about the Blazers. That was a heck of a game last night. Portland hanging on for the win. Carolyn Inglis, by the way, pro Duck in action overseas right now. Some updates on that for you. And also, we've been talking about this for a couple days now, our sports and Star Wars comparison. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this. I actually gave a little tiny presentation at a team meeting that we did via Zoom. And I actually put smiles on all the coworkers' faces in what is a desperate hour. We're going to talk about that.
That's a little clue right there.
That's a little clue. Thank you, Scott. We're going to talk about that here over the next hour and take some of your Facebook and YouTube comments and questions. So thanks for being with us. It is Athletic Director Friday, brought to you by Pepsi and locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Going to hear from Rob Mullins in just a moment. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi. Well, NCAA Fall Championships have officially been canceled. Mark Emmert, the NCAA president, announced yesterday evening in an interview with Andy Katz on the NCAA social media channels that fall sports for the championship season have been canceled. That means that should teams play, no NCAA championships. Now, the one sport that this does not apply to, remember, because the college football playoff governs the championship for college football, football is the one sport that this does not apply to. So far, even though things can rapidly change and change in a hurry, we are expecting, at least, that the Big 12, the ACC, and the SEC are still going to move forward with college football and fall competition this year. The big reason, though, that the NCAA is canceling the championships, one, the health and safety of student athletes, and two, now with some of the conferences making decisions like the Pac-12 did to postpone for the fall season and for the Pac-12 all the way through the end of the calendar year, the Ducks will just be one of a lot of teams that aren't participating, and as a result, it's more than 50% of each of those sports participating teams that will not play, which means, per the NCAA's guidelines that they released, a few weeks ago, it wouldn't have enough to hold a championship anyway because not enough teams are participating. That's a very long-winded explanation of something that honestly just really sucks. All of this sucks, and I hope that we get back to championship season soon because it's been an awful long time since we've had a championship season. Ticket info for some season ticket holders. I want to try to answer some of those questions, and we'll also talk a little bit more about kind of the way that these things are going to move. Let me just say first that I know a lot of you have been in touch with the Duck Athletic Fund or been in touch with the Oregon Ticket Office. Have some patience for sure. There's a lot of people that are talking with the Duck Athletic Fund and the ticket office right now. They will get to everybody, just going to take a little bit of time. A lot of challenges right now. As Rob Mullins announced yesterday, the Oregon Athletic Department looking at a $50 to $80 million revenue hit. And he did say in a letter to season ticket holders a couple days ago, with our department mission and our substantial financial challenges in mind, and for those who are able, we would be extremely grateful if you would consider converting the funds you've already paid into a 100% tax-deductible donation to the Duck Athletic Fund. As a season ticket holder, your options are as follows. You could take a credit, no action required, just rolls it over to 2021. You could reinvest. Convert all or a portion of your account credit into a 100% tax-deductible donation to support Oregon student athletes. You could also request a refund, and fans can request a partial or full refund for your 2020 football season tickets per seat and parking contribution funds, by the way. Season ticket holders will retain renewal rights if they ask for a refund. I know a lot of people were wondering about that with some of the incentives that the University of Oregon is giving to season ticket holders. I understand why there was a little bit of confusion there, but all fans who are supporting the Ducks through this challenging time with their account credit or reinvestment of football season tickets will receive the following incentives. So this is where I think there was a little bit of confusion. Like if I ask for a refund, then are people going to jump me in the point system? And you'll hear Rob Mullins give a little detail on that in just a moment, so stick with me. You can get double priority points, though, for all 2020 donations and 2021 credit rollovers. And the new priority point calculations will begin in January of 2021, and they will be in effect through the 2021 calendar year. For those of you who are season ticket holders, I think all of that clicks for you. Those of you who aren't, this is just kind of the explanation of the way that things shake out for season ticket holders. And I'll do my best to answer some of your questions. If you have any specific ones, I will do that when we hear from Rob Mullins in just a moment. Please be patient, though. The ticket office and the Duck Athletic Fund will get to everyone, I promise. Without further ado, and before we talk to Matt Ulmer, we didn't get a chance to play it yesterday. Rob Mullins, with his conversation with the media. In this first portion, he talks a little bit about the stresses that the department is under now with the postponement of the athletic season through the end of 2020. And also he talks about what the options are for season ticket holders in the athletic director's words. Rob Mullins, brought to you by Pepsi and locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi, part one of our conversation with Rob Mullins. And then we're going to hear from Oregon Volleyball head coach Matt Ulmer. Here's Rob Mullins.
Any kind of estimate on the fiscal impact of no fall sports and any sort of short-term and long-term recovery plans?
Well, I guess we really have to determine whether we're going to be able to, have some of these postponed games played in the spring. Our numbers have remained fairly consistent, which I think we shared on the last call, but now obviously we've eliminated a couple of scenarios. So we're probably, Ryan, somewhere in the 50 million to 80 million range of impact, depending on what we're able to do in the spring. So we're exploring all options, obviously. I think people probably heard about, the exploration that the Pac-12 is doing about some debt option through the league, through the center. We're also exploring some local options, and then we'll have to consider, what other revenue options, creative revenue options there might be, and always cost containment. As you know, we've had a hiring freeze and a spending freeze. We already took a number of personnel actions. We took about 10% of our staff had to do leave without pay, which is a really difficult decision. And the rest of our team, coaches included, took a 10% across the board pay cut, and we suspended all incentives through the fiscal year. So we've already taken a first step, but we'll continue to try to figure out a way to close that gap for this fiscal year and make sure that we're ready to accelerate out of it.
Okay. Next, we will go to James Crepia.
Thanks, Rob. To get into a little bit of the weeds medically, Understandable that the Pac-12 medical advisory group clearly had some advice regarding myocarditis. And even this morning, Brian Hainline from the NCAA group had some very strong remarks. What is your understanding as to why there is this discrepancy, though, nationally in terms of why some medical advisory groups, including from the NCAA, are very concerned, understandably, and while others and other medical experts across the country are not, and point out that myocarditis is rare but still contracted in other viral infections, and they don't necessarily feel it's a stop point at this time for college athletes?
I can't speak to others. What I can speak to the Pac-12 medical group and the experts that have been included in that, both on the infectious disease as well as public health, and then also have pulled in some cardiologist experts. And obviously there was some concern around the impacts or the emerging information and some of the unknowns relative to the cardiac impacts on those who test positive. And when you couple that with the prevalence in our communities, that was a concern for our Pac-12 medical group, as well as the lack of availability of point-of-care rapid result testing. The medical group's advice was, or they put in their report, that we should not move to contact. As we said from the beginning, we were going to be guided by our Pac-12 medical advisory group. We've stuck to that, and the information they provided allowed us to say, we need to hit pause and postpone and take another look about what we can do after January 1.
All right, the next question will go to Matt Preem.
Thanks. Rob, a lot of these decisions we've heard have been made about the health of the student athlete and the others involved in these sports, in particular with football. How can you guys, I guess, play a spring season and then play again in the fall? Does that mean maybe the fall season could be modified as well to make sure that it's done in a healthy manner?
Well, we don't have those details yet, Matt, but we've had a Pac-12 football working group that's done a great job, of football administrators, of league officials, and lots of conversation with football coaches about how we can do different models. And so now we'll pivot to a model that determines what we can do after January 1. Again, what we've done is postpone sports through the calendar year, and that may give us a chance to do something earlier than what would be the spring. If we can do something in January, February, and we truncate that to fewer games, I don't know the exact number, but we'll explore all types of those models. We will obviously keep health and safety at the forefront. We would make sure that there was enough time for rest and recovery before we pivoted to the 21 season. So, it's time for that working group to get back together and start looking at what options are, and health and safety will remain at the forefront of all those conversations.
We're going to hear more from Rob Mullins coming up, so stick with us. And we got a busy show today because coming up next, Oregon Volleyball head coach Matt Ulmer is here. He's here virtually, though, which I know makes him sad. It makes me sad. We're going to talk to Matt Ulmer, head coach Oregon Volleyball, coming up in just a little while. Stick with us. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union, back inside the Country Financial Studio, next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield IMG College.
Long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff, create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I wasn't prepared to be a caregiver to Mom. I had no idea how hard it would be and what I would need to know. Things I never thought of, like how to improve her mood and ways for me to stay positive. Luckily, I found the Caregiving Resource Center from AARP. It had articles about the basics, but also information about the hurdles I was facing.
Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving. Articles, tips, and tools to help you both care for your loved one and care for yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. Normally, we would be welcoming Matt Ulmer in with a combination of a fist bump, handshake, and then we'd go out in the opposite direction. I don't know if we can really pull this off, but like handshake through the screen maybe. Yeah, and then fist bump. That's good. Matt Ulmer is here with us, head coach, Oregon Volleyball. Coach, one, thanks for taking the time. It's been too long since we've caught up. Two, can you describe for our viewers, but also for our listeners who cannot see the fabulous office that you're in, where exactly you're coming to us from?
Joey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Yeah, so this is home base. This is the home office. My wife works for Stella & Dot. She sells jewelry and bags and
all right,
scarves and some apparel. So if anybody's looking for some jewelry right now, look, notice the O. See how we did that?
That's great.
So this has been my Zoom studio here for the last 5 months or whatever.
And so she let you in? I'm surprised
There's
she's not using it.
There's a code on the door because I have a 5-year-old girl, and this is like a dream playroom.
Oh, sure.
So she would just come in and ruin all the necklaces and stuff. So we actually do have a lock on it with a code. So she did tell me the code. So I was pretty appreciative of that.
Honestly, I was about to say, aren't you probably the one she wants to keep out of her office, your wife, more than anybody?
Yeah, and I've just been very rude.
Okay.
But I've kept it clean. Like, I don't think I've messed anything up too bad. So.
Too bad.
He's a sharer.
Too bad. Got it. Also, before we get to the serious things, can you please explain your microphone to the masses?
I feel like it's very me. So August Rafsky, our setter she graduated in 2018. And the summer before 2018 fall, she went with Team USA. I think they were in Croatia.
Okay. And
she was on the top team, and she bought this for me there and brought it back and gave it to me as a birthday present. Apparently she thought I needed a really shiny mic. So I don't know what I do that gives off that vibe, but that's what she wanted to get for me. So I figured now's the time to use it.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Matt Ulmer, head coach, Oregon Volleyball, joining us. Coach, this has been a wild time. I mean, I feel like I got to ask everybody, just what the heck's this been like for you in the last 5 months? And is everybody safe, healthy in the Ulmer household?
Yeah, Ulmer household is. We survived a term and a half, right, of homeschooling. So we had a kindergartner and a preschooler. Now I get a crack at a first grader and a kindergartner. Luckily, I think my knowledge, I can still keep up with some of that. So I'll probably still have to Google some things, but for the most part, I can get the curriculum down. But so we made it through that, and it was a little touch and go in the beginning, but we kind of got it going. So yeah, we've been healthy and safe, and just trying to be here for everybody, and lots of Zoom calls.
Yeah. Do you have
never heard of Zoom before this?
Do you have Zoom fatigue like the rest of us?
Beyond that is, that's what I have.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the beard still looks good. You look like yeah, I mean, it looks like you've kept it shaved and clean, which is better than I can say. I mean, you see this hair.
For you. I had it up until today for you. I tried to just, I like your hair better. I feel like your hair plus this would have been like, I feel like a lot of people are giving you a lot of stuff for your hair, and I think you look 10 years younger,
So I look 17 again. I'll take it. I mean, it's got quite the poof, let me tell you. But I think I actually, in all seriousness, Matt, I think I've gotten more comments on my hair than we have anything else on the show in the history of Duck Insider.
I think the windblown look is a great look, 24/7. And you rock it,
Man. This is what, Matt, you can come on the show anytime.
Yes.
Anytime. We haven't even talked about the depressing nature yet.
There's nothing depressing going on.
This is
when you're looking at hair like that.
Oh, man. I want that recorded. I want it on record. We're keeping that. Thank you. Matt Ulmer, head coach, Oregon Volleyball, is our guest. What was the most difficult subject to teach in kindergarten and first grade for you?
Just trying to get focus. Is that a subject?
That's a subject, yeah.
Like you're trying to keep the attention span for 3 minutes. That was a solid win, I felt like.
Okay.
Just learning how to read, learning how to write, and math.
Well, those aren't things that you can teach, so your wife must have done the heavy lifting.
All the time she does.
All right. Good man.
Look, my office would never look this nice,
I've been in your office in the CAS. It looks pretty nice.
That's because she put it together.
Oh, good. Everything makes sense now.
There you go. I'm just trying to screw it up.
And without completely taking a left turn here, announcement Tuesday about postponement through the end of the calendar year. Matt, I mean, the way that I described it to everybody is this just sucks. Your thoughts, your reaction to everything that's going on and how it's affected you and your student athletes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could put it as good as you did. Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing, because that's what they love to do. So I think just for anybody who is being affected by this, which is pretty much everybody, you're not able to do some of the things that you're really passionate about. And so then how do you fill your time and how do you keep pushing forward towards that goal? So it requires a lot of maturity. And we've had a young group, right? Mm-hmm. Which we know that last year. So it's just another opportunity for us to continue to grow and mature. And I'm really proud of our group. So I think they've done this fantastic job together, being away and just being at home and not having a lot of resources to do, to continue to do what they want to do. But they all came back ready to go. We thought maybe 10 days ago, okay, we're doing this. And then real quickly went. So I think overall, we thought it was probably going to happen. But there was that we finally let our hopes go up a little bit because we thought maybe we were going to play. And that was the kicker. That was the kicker. We got our hopes up for a minute and then it came crashing back down again. So, again, proud of the group. It's just, now we just have to continue to, we got to get our minds right again and understand that, there's so many great days ahead of us.
We talked about this with your group a little bit last year with them being young and kind of just the mental side of the game. I'm glad that you brought that up because it was something that I was thinking about with all of these student athletes. And I'm just curious, what do you say in these circumstances, Coach? And I mean, just the mental aspect of how you move forward with something like this after you put in, as you said, so much work. What do you say to these student athletes?
Yeah, I think the hard part is that it's very different for everybody, so it's not like it can just be a global team statement. Some people are, already refocused and they're moving on and they want to practice and they want to do whatever they can do. Others, they're just really dealing with the sense of loss right now and they're trying to process those emotions and those feelings. And so I think everybody's across the board. So honestly, as always, I just try to be there for them. I try to have those conversations. With some of them, I'm pushing conversations more because I feel like they need some sort of communication instead of internalizing everything.
Sure.
But you also try not to be too pushy. So it's absolutely not easy. And you're just trying to meet them where they are and give the best guidance and support that you can.
Matt Ulmer, head coach, Oregon Volleyball, is joining us. A difficult conversation for sure. Well, what's kind of the schedule ahead now, Coach? I mean, you guys were gearing up, getting ready to go back to practice. It was supposed to be able to start tomorrow, and so now student athletes go home. I mean, what's the schedule for the student athletes and for your staff now?
Yeah, so our whole team is here right now in Eugene. Everybody just got back. Jade from Estonia was the last one. We were just unsure what to do because I didn't want her to come here and then turn around and go back home. And then it looked like we were going. So then I was like, all right, let's do it. And then she came, and then like she's still in her isolation period right now. So it's like bummer. But for them, we're allowed to do voluntary practice for now. So if those that want to, they can practice starting tomorrow with coaches. Never been able to do that before. So this is new territory. So again, just trying to help guide them through that. If anybody wants to get in the gym, I'm thankful to do that with them. If not, I support them and, get back home or whatever they need to do to feel safe and kind of get through everything. So, that's kind of where we are for now. We're waiting word if we're going to have, in-class classes.
Right.
I guess we don't know that quite yet. And then, are we going to have a spring season? What does that look like? I mean, there's just, again, like everything, it's always fluid. You think you have it pinned down, and then the next day it changes or the next hour it changes. So that's probably been the hardest part about this whole thing, at least just from a coach's perspective. We are all planners, right?
Yeah.
And so just, you think you have something planned, and then it's just, just throw it away and start over again.
Yeah, every minute seems like things change. Scott and I were talking about that at least with what we do, the news cycle is changing so fast that I can't even keep up with it.
It's really hard.
It's really pretty remarkable. Matt Ulmer, our guest. Coach, you mind if we get a quick timeout, come back, spend a little more time with you? I've got about 10,000 other things to ask you.
I've been missing you all this time. It's going to be hard to separate again. Okay. The angle, by the way, that I have of Joey Mack for everybody, I wish everyone could see this.
Oh, well, actually, we might be able to make that happen.
Show everyone. I mean, I think it's your best view.
Well, if we must. This is a little bit of Inception for everybody now. That's the angle that Coach Olmer sees. Very, very good profile of my face. Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying about the hair? Like, it's so nice.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good.
We're going to get a timeout
Go to your break.
so that I can gather my thoughts again. Matt Ulmer is our guest, kind enough to join us and bring a little bit of a lighter mood to everything, which is good. We need that right about now. Oregon Volleyball head coach, our guest. We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union in just a minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar presents an original that's now maybe even better. Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a delicious Mountain Dew Zero Sugar with the same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. And all the king's horses, all the king's men couldn't get Humpty to try a different zero sugar soda again.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. As good as the original, maybe even better.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
All right, everybody in the car. Let's go.
What are we going to do first when we get there, Mom? Go for a hike?
Sure.
What about canoeing? Can we go canoeing too?
I don't see why.
How long does it take to get to the forest?
It's not that far, sweetie.
Are we there yet?
Yep, we're here.
Already?
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
They say that car crashes happen in slow motion. The reality is that crashes happen fast. There's no time to think and no time to check if your child is in the right car seat. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your kids in the right seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Get more info at safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union, and today's show is brought to you by North Fork Public House, open for dine-in and takeout, northforkeugene.com. Oregon Volleyball head coach Matt Ulmer is joining us in his bedazzled office with his very sparkly microphone. Coach, hey, thanks for bringing, I think, a lighter perspective to all this. I know that it sucks. I think that we all feel that way. With no Pac-12 competition until the end of the year, I think we can all agree that 2020 cannot end soon enough. You feel that way too?
My 35th year on this earth was not necessarily my favorite.
Yeah, I agree.
It started with Willow getting injured, our 9-20 season, and then COVID. So it's like highlights, not a ton.
Not a ton. Yeah,
just
by the way,
36. Really excited for 36.
By the way, though, happy belated birthday just a few days ago. Another year older for our esteemed volleyball coach, and I have a present for you. I don't know if you knew that. Look at that face. He is so scared of what's about to happen.
Thank you.
So I'm going to just tell everybody, I came prepared for you today. I brought the sandals just for you. And I was really hoping that, in studio, my plan was someday to just have sandals and we could just do socks and sandals together. But you're not here, so I'm doing it virtually for you, Coach.
I love that. Thank you. That's the best gift I got.
Thanks. Are you wearing socks and sandals for us today?
I'm very barefoot. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
I can show you.
Well, we were both barefoot there for a second. I guess we don't need to see that. No one needs to see that. But a happy belated birthday. So I think what you're saying though is that if 35 was a valley, 36 is going to be just great.
An incline. Right? We're going this direction.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. The roller coaster is going back up, which is great. Not to get too much into kind of the nitty gritty here, Coach, but I did think it was important that the NCAA made the decision to give flexibility to student athletes, and really that's what it's all about, right? Is the student athletes. So granting the option for those that don't compete to in more than 50% of their scheduled competitions, get another year of eligibility back, extending the 5-year clock, all of those sort of technical things. I guess just your perspective from the coach's chair of that's got to be a positive, right? It kind of resets the clock for everybody a little bit with everything going on.
Yeah, I think the overlying, biggest concern from at least the women's volleyball community of players was, the idea of, what happened to the basketballs, the winter sports.
Yeah.
Or possibly the spring sports of you get started and then it stops.
Yeah.
And then their fear was losing the year if that happened. So they wanted to have an NCAA championship tournament, and without that, then, that it doesn't carry the same weight that they would, be as excited for, which I completely understand. So, for them, this gives them that relief, and I think that's a real positive for all of our student athletes.
Yeah, Matt Ulmer, head coach, Oregon Volleyball, joining us. So we talked a little bit about, hopefully you can use this time for development with your roster. And, maybe, Matt, one thing that I guess comes up here is that student athletes are always so focused on athletics and academics. I'd imagine that for the coaches, you're probably emphasizing academics a little bit in this upcoming term, aren't you?
Hey, we got over a 3.5 team GPA last term. Like, we are Zoom perfectionists,
That's right.
We can remote learn as good as anybody. So yeah, I thought
you're prepared.
What'd you say?
You're prepared.
Yeah, exactly. So next term, whatever it comes, I think, again, there was a lot of unknowns when it came to just having a full schedule remote. And I think, again, they handled it so well.
Yeah.
So, they're ready if that's what happens again.
What would a spring season look like? We're hoping that we can get there and everything's going to be better come January, and we can all do our part wearing your masks and staying socially distant. There's a lot that we can do to make sure that these athletic competitions do return. Coach, what does it look like? Have you given a lot of thought to just the potential of the spring season? And also, I guess part two to that is how does it really interfere with your beach season for you guys and for other Pac-12 schools out there?
Yeah, I think that's one of the bigger concerns for us. We are pretty much a beach only roster now. This next year we could actually field the whole team without using indoor players for the first time. But there are some that want to cross over. So I don't know if that means there needs to be a redshirt year in one of the sports to allow that to happen. I don't, that's where we're at now as far as thinking about that. But yeah, I just don't foresee a way that they can do both at the same time and be healthy. As far as schedule goes, I feel like it would be pretty difficult to have non-conference in the spring, again, but, we'll see. Again, the hard part is we don't know what each month is going to bring.
Right.
So if everything starts trending in a better direction and we get some answers and we learn a lot more, then that's going to open up opportunities. If it doesn't, then you're looking at the truncated season again, a shortened tournament, maybe only 16 teams, and so you're kind of back in the same bubble there of what do you want to do. And again, from a student athlete perspective, they're probably not extremely excited about the shortened season idea, So yeah, I mean, that's been kind of the headache as far as, the choices to be made. So trying to figure out what's best.
So, I mean, what's the process here? Like, how do you even start to try to unwrap this whole thing when, like you said, it just changes so fast? And maybe I get the feeling there probably isn't an answer to that question because there's just so many unknowns, right?
Well, I'm about to meet with the team, and I'm just going to tell them, let's go week by week.
Yeah.
And for some, it might be day by day. It might wake up and how we doing, But I think for us, it's just, let's just do this week and let's see how we're feeling at the end of it and what do we want to do. And it doesn't have to be a group thing. It can be an individual thing, But let's just take it slow and work our way back, which we were going to do anyway because I haven't seen anybody in the gym for over 5 months. So who knows what that's going to look like, But I just think take it slow, take it one day or a week at a time, and we'll, as a staff, we always overplan,
Sure.
So we'll be ready for whatever. The Pac-12 head volleyball coaches, we've been meeting every week, every Wednesday since COVID happened, since we start. So, I mean, we're really tight now, all of us as a volleyball coaching community. But the idea is because we're just trying to plan and do what's best for our student athletes and give them the best experience that we can.
Yeah. That's all you can do.
Yeah, we'll continue to do that. And, we made up a million different schedules and threw them all away, so that was fun. And the first thing we thought we would do was have a spring season, and here we go. So, I think we'll keep doing that, and we'll just have all our research done and just be as prepared as we possibly can and wait for a decision.
One other thing that obviously this has impacted a lot, we talked about it yesterday with the extension of the recruiting dead period now. How has this changed recruiting for you guys, Coach? I mean, and really in every sport, it's just totally changed the game, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think you're getting, a lot of recruits that are committing without ever visiting a campus, meeting a staff in person, so that's scary.
It's wild.
But again, I don't know what the great answer is because then, the other side of that is you just have to wait.
Yeah.
And, there's 2021s, that are still trying to figure out where to go. And then you have the idea of what scholarships you can have available for 2021s because now do you keep, so it's, again, I think, unfortunately, we have to stay patient, which is not our favorite thing to do. So, I mean, for us, we only have one senior, that's Taylor Borup on our roster. So we're not as heavily impacted as others who might have a big senior class. But I know some do. And that's a real, obstacle they're trying to figure out.
Oh, it's just a bummer. I mean, you want to give everybody the opportunity still. It's just harder and harder to do that. And the roster can only get so big, I guess, right? Is kind of the answer to that conundrum because you only got so many spots, and even if the NCAA decides here down the road to expand rosters, you still got playing time, right? It's not like you're going to add 2 more players into the rotation on the volleyball court, right?
Right. Yeah, our rules have just changed to push back recruiting timeline, so to try to make more informed decisions. And now we can't even do campus visits so. Good try.
It's the old college try.
Maybe someday that'll happen, but not right now.
We'll get back to it. Matt, I mean, I could talk to you for hours. Maybe we'll do this again here as we get a little bit more clarity on things moving forward. But I've already kept you longer than I said I would. So I thank you for taking the time and stay safe out there. And I really do appreciate your perspective here, Coach. I think that it's important for everybody to hear and keep some of that positivity like you always do.
Just miss your face so much.
Thanks, man. You too. I mean, your hair looks great too, by the way.
I know. I mean, thank you. Thank you. You know that every time I go get my haircut, the first comment they go, "You have the best hair I've ever seen," and I go, I always say, "Really? Like, why do you say that? Why do you think that?" Just so that they can keep going, giving me compliments. I know that shocks you.
Yeah, I haven't gotten my haircut since February.
That doesn't shock me.
Yeah, that's why we're here. So, I was joking that I wouldn't get my hair cut till we played sports again.
Joke's on you, buddy. Or maybe your wife.
Ooh, I don't know. I think I might need to call an audible.
Love her.
Might need to call an audible here.
By the way, assistant coach Dave Butler, same as you. Don't know if you've seen pictures, but
hasn't got a haircut?
No.
Nice. Coach Butler, I'm with you. I'm with you. This is great. Well, hey, my best to you and your family, Coach, to your student athletes as well. Here's to getting to some volleyball here in hopefully January, huh?
Miss you all. Stay safe.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Head coach, Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach. That was great. That was some great stuff. We're going to get a quick timeout, come back, talk a little bit about the Blazers, some Pro Ducks, and also we've got our Star Wars analogy. That's next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Welcome back for another episode of ASMR with Alex. Today, we're exploring the delicious, refreshing sounds of Pepsi. Oh, spilled a little there, but don't worry, it's all under control. Now for the best part. Pepsi. That's what I like. Nailed it. My subscriber is gonna love this one.
Locally owned Bigfoot Beverages is proud to support the Oregon Ducks. Go Ducks. Drink Pepsi.
This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Okay, man, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running?
That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union, live inside the Country Financial Studio. And today's show brought to you by Jackson's Food Stores, proud sponsor of the University of Oregon Ducks. Stop by your local neighborhood Jackson's and go Ducks. I thought that was great perspective from Matt Ulmer. He always just has a great view on life in general. And originally we were going to talk to him on Tuesday. Then everything happened. And we were like, well, maybe we should just talk to him on... We'll talk to him on Friday. It seems like he'd be a good Friday guest, and I feel better now. Don't you all feel better after hearing from Coach Olmer? I mean, he's great. He's the man, and he's just one of many coaches around here in the Oregon Athletic Department that's trying to navigate these unprecedented waters. And these are unprecedented waters. Don't get me wrong. These are unprecedented waters. One thing that we did not finish up is the rest of what Rob Mullins had to say. Won't get to his entire press conference, but Scott did kind of pick out the highlights, if you will, from Rob's press conference. And then stick around. We got some products updates and also our how Star Wars relates to what we're all going through right now. I've been talking about this. I really hope that it lives up to the billing for everybody watching. I mean, Phillips thinks that it won't. But I think that our coworkers thought that it was funny.
It's a journey through what we've all been feeling.
Yes, it's a journey. Yes, this is our most desperate hour. Rob Mullins, Oregon Athletic Director, continuing with some of his comments from yesterday, talking about what we're all facing here. Oregon AD, Rob Mullins.
Just two quick questions. A lot of people are looking at, an 8-figure impact financially across athletic departments. But what, first of all, does that actually look like? What does a $50 to $80 million impact look like for you guys over the course of the next 1 to 5 fiscal years moving forward. And the second question is, season ticket holders got an email last night about the 3 options that they have. Some ticket holders reach out to us with a concern that if they refunded their tickets, the incentives for others to remain would jump them in the priority list. Do ticket holders who decide to refund retain their priority spot, or are they in danger of being jumped by people who get the incentives to either stay around or go on credit for the next year?
So the answer to the first question is, it will depend on how we formulate to cover that gap. Obviously, if you take on debt, it will depend on the terms of that debt and, what we can do on the cost containment side and what opportunities there are on the revenue side. For us, if somebody decides to get a refund, they will retain their season ticket renewal rights. Our priority point system is always changing based on gifts and purchases. It's very fluid, and it has always been that way. But if somebody decides to get a refund, they will retain their season ticket rights for the 21 season.
Okay, next we will go to AJ Jacobson.
So hopefully you're able to hear me, Rob.
I got you. Yep, I can hear you.
Awesome. What accommodations are being made for student athletes who want to remain on campus and train in the facilities here? Or, what's the situation with those guys in this sort of interim time before camps and training start back up?
We will be able to keep them in the status quo, which, as you know, we were in the 20 hours of CARA, which involved some strength and conditioning, some walkthroughs, as well as some film review, all, socially distanced in the weight room with masks, as well as in the film review. So I think what, many of our coaches have decided is to make that optional for student athletes at this point. And we'll continue to provide, the support, obviously the scholarship support, the mental health support, the medical support, as well as continue with the safety protocols that our team has done a phenomenal job of implementing. I'm so proud of our medical team, of our coaches, of our student athletes, and of our staff of really embracing the protocols that were necessary to keep us safe in this training time. And we'll continue with that. We will make those opportunities available for the student athletes who choose to stay.
Yeah, hey there, Rob, you got me?
I got you. You're
Sorry,
good.
I know that everyone's asking you that. And just to kind of piggyback off that last question, you said they can stay on campus. Is there a certain amount of time they can still practice going forward? I know everything's kind of pretty fluid right now, of course, just hearing about the postponement earlier in the week. But how long can they continue practice and also obviously working out at facilities too?
Yeah, some of that will continue to be defined as the NCAA determines, but the direction that we've been given at this point is they can stay in the status they were in before this decision was made. So in the sport of football, they were in the 20 hours that includes some walkthroughs, some strength training, as well as some film review. Men's and women's basketball were in their summer 8 hours of CARA. Obviously, volleyball and soccer were kind of moving into their preseason training. So our student athletes will still have the opportunity to get into the weight room again in a socially distanced with masks and do some of the individual instruction that they were doing. We are not moving to full practice in any sport. So no contact, no full practice in any sport, but they can kind of stay status quo in the training and the individual instruction for now.
Okay, next we'll have AJ McCord.
Awesome. Okay, so I was having some audio issues at the beginning, so I'm really sorry if I even asked either of these questions wrong. Feel free to totally pass over them. The first question is, I've talked to several of the players who are in part of that Players United group, and they talked about how much they want to make sure that the demands and requests that they had before the Pac-12 decided to postpone their season were still being talked about. I know that's with the conference, but how much do you anticipate working with the players and athletes of that group over the next couple of months to make sure that if and when football can resume, these players feel safe to do so? And then secondarily, you talked about the budget cuts. Have you ruled out cutting any sports? And you may have answered that. So those are my two questions.
So second question first is, that would be our last resort. I mean, obviously, we're a small athletic program with 20 sports, And our goal would be to continue those 20 sports. And we'll do everything that we can to keep those. On the first part of the question, the Pac-12 has had an ongoing dialogue with the We Are United group, and that dialogue will continue. I think it's probably been reported that Commissioner Scott sent a response to them last night. And again, I want to say again that I've said several times, health and safety is our highest priority, and that was the driver in the decision to postpone all competitions through the calendar year. And that health and safety will still be the driver of all of our decisions.
Rob Mullins, Oregon Athletic Director, talking with the media on some updates for you as we end the week. Coming up next, we're going to try and end the week on a lighter note. I think that dorks and sports fans alike are going to enjoy this. More Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union, coming up back inside the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Hundo P. Hundo P. Adjective. Short for being 100% sure or certain. As in, if we get a puppy, I'll Hundo P always walk it.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. Our thanks to Rob Mullins for that time spent with the media. Always brought to you by Pepsi and locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi. Going to be hitting the golf course this weekend. Shadow Hills Country Club, your family resort, just minutes from home. Call for a tour today. All right. So we all know that the world isn't exactly what we wanted it to be at this point. No sports, it stinks. And really for sports fans, I'd like to make a bridge between sports and Star Wars for a moment, if we could. Our bridge between sports and Star Wars begins with our most desperate hour. This is sports' most desperate hour, particularly here in the Pac-12. We don't have any events until the end of 2020, so this is our most desperate hour. Well, you know what? We all need to find our Obi-Wan Kenobi. We just have to find our Obi-Wan Kenobi, because you know what happens when they find Obi-Wan Kenobi? Luke and Leia and Han Solo and Chewbacca and R2-D2 and C-3PO, the entire team, they blow up the Death Star. So we just need to find that. And once we do, and we stay on target, we're going to be celebrating with Ewoks in the end.
That's the new dance right there. That's how I will feel.
Yeah, we need to just get to the celebration with the Ewoks, I'm telling you. So, what's our Obi-Wan Kenobi? I don't know.
Our Obi-Wan Kenobi? How about that hair?
The hair. Yep, that could be one. Boy, good hair day today.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. So, look, I wanted to have a little bit of fun with that. I presented it when we were doing a team meeting over Zoom, and everyone was like, so how do we feel about this? And I just went, let's have some fun, you know? Look, yeah, it is our most desperate hour. It stinks. But you find Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Obi-Wan Kenobi might be our top 10 shows that we're going to do. Might be some other classic broadcasts. It might be talking with people like Matt Ulmer who just bring a positive perspective to what's going on, and frankly, something that we just can't control. But there are things that we can't control. Wearing your mask. Socially distancing. Doing everything that we can to curb the effect of this virus so that we can get back to the sports and, frankly, the lifestyle that we love. That'll be when we blow up the Death Star. The first day that we get back to sports, that'll be when we blow up the Death Star, and then Scott and I are going to celebrate with the Ewoks.
Yes, look at that thing. Although that is from the enhanced version. That's not the original theatrical release.
I knew that you'd be upset about that when I got that video.
But still feeling like that.
Still feeling like a good Ewok, yeah. Yeah, I feel your pain on the enhanced version, but I think it gets the point across, don't you? Yeah. So,
yeah, I would say so.
Everybody who's with us today, we'll get to blowing up the Death Star here eventually, right? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. What a week. I don't know about everybody else. I'm ready for the weekend. It is officially the weekend for me and Scott once we get off the air today.
And what are you doing in your weekend?
I don't know.
Oh.
I have honestly zero plans because everything could change on an hour's notice in this landscape, and we have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's hard to plan ahead at this point.
Yeah. John Essick, though, back in the radio studio, keeping us on track all week long. Couldn't do it without him. It's a week that I won't forget. The week that 2020 really did become the worst year ever. Tough to wrap our head around, but we'll get through it. We got some fun things in store for you. We're going to have some fun as best we can in the current landscape, and we will have Duck Insider for you next week. I can tell you that. Graham Abel, head coach Oregon Soccer, going to join us on Monday. Everybody have a great weekend.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a